Welcome to my second month of retirement budget review. If you remember, I did an explanation of what I thought retirement was going to be like. I did that a couple months ago and it blew up. So this is my third video about budgeting. I did the explanation of what I thought it would be, then I did a review, and now I'm going to do a review of my second month of retirement, and it's so much better than what I anticipated. So I'm Melinda, and I retired in 2023, failed at retirement, went back to work, and now I'm retired again for the second time. But before we get into it, today is an exciting day because I am doing a collaboration video with Before It's Too Late. It's a couple from Kansas City. We connected here on YouTube, and we are going to record a video today, so I'm super excited about that. I also connected with a financial planner. In the comments, if you would put questions that you might have for a financial planner. If you've seen some of my past videos, you know I retired and never once met with a financial planner. This will be my first time. I told him that I would let you know and have you put questions in the comments for us. I'm hoping to get this video uploaded tomorrow because we are going to record that collaboration in a couple of days, and I want to have one more chance for people to get their questions in that they would ask him. And then the next thing I would like to offer is I created a retirement planning journal that's basically an empty digital notebook for you to write down all of your retirement hopes, dreams, budget, finances, just a special place for you to journal about retirement. One of the best things I've done over the last few months is to journal. I'm also creating a non-financial planning journal that is going to have lots of questions that you probably should ask yourself before you retire. And it's going to take me a while to create something like that. So I wanted you to have an example of a digital planner. Many of you may not have ever used a digital planner. How I use it is I download planners and notebooks to my iPad, and I have a notes app. There's tons of note-taking apps for your iPad. I use Note Shelf. I just open that up. I have tons of notebooks and planners in there, and whenever I am lounging around or substitute teaching and I have time, I journal, I write my videos on there, and so I created one for you guys that you can use specifically for retirement planning. All right, let's get into my second month of retirement budget reflection. The first reflection I have is that I did a no spend month. I did no spend September, and this was the best thing I probably could have ever done and will do again. It taught me so much about my spending. I've done no spends before, but I haven't really stuck to it, or it's no spend on coffee, or it's no spend on eating out. This was legit like no spend. I was trying not to spend any money other than just what I needed and groceries and things like that. Well, I unsubscribed to a ton of social media accounts. I unsubscribed to a ton of email subscriptions that I had you get those sales. Oh, it's 15% off. It's whatever. I was falling for a lot of that stuff, and I caught myself doing it last night, and I was like, I cannot do this. Plus, it's almost Christmas. I need to be spending my money on Christmas presents and not on myself, so I've been thinking about that. Another thing that I have noticed is there are less Amazon packages coming to the door. That's kind of refreshing. I did, however, order some Christmas presents, and then I ordered these coffee mugs that I have wanted for a couple of months. I don't want to give up everything, and you do have to treat yourself. So I did get the coffee mugs. I wanted to mention, I was watching a video yesterday, and somebody that I really respect was talking about how some of this advice is bad advice, and the advice about not getting coffee out and not eating eating out is going to solve all of your retirement and budget problems. Well, that's a huge expense, especially if you're doing it every day. Yeah, that alone, a couple of coffees a week isn't going to solve your problem. But if you're stopping by the coffee shop every day or you're eating out 3 or 4 times a week, that money for me could have gone towards other investments. I could have met with a financial planner and used the $200 I was spending on coffee a month to invest in something or create savings or anything other than just coffee. So I don't think it's bad advice. I think it's just one piece of the puzzle. I also wanted to mention that not working, it helps with the mentality of feeling like you have to keep up with the Joneses. When you're at a work environment all the time and people are talking about their lives and the things that they're doing, and they have new clothes and new outfits, and you see something that you want, where did you get it? And they say Amazon. That has helped a ton, just not being in a working environment. As a sub, I don't really see anyone or spend that time with anyone other than the kids. I don't really want what the kids have. So not being in a work environment has really limited my envy or wanting to get what other people have, I guess. But let's now talk about following budget planners online. I know this is probably an excuse, but I did not take the time when I was working to really sit down and look at my finances. When I was in the grind of working all the time, I was exhausted and tired and eating out and getting coffee and just not taking the time to sit down and go through everything. I would sit down every now and then and start the process, and then something would come up and I would get distracted. Or I would sit down and I would list all of my fixed expenses for the month and then get distracted, and I wouldn't calculate what I was spending on just random stuff I didn't need. Now that I have the time, I have been able to actually sit down with the numbers. Now, let me backtrack just a little bit. I wasn't overspending or just oblivious to my money. I knew how much money I had, and I knew when I was getting close to blowing it, and I could rein myself in. I just didn't know the specifics or have the tools or the tactics that are talked about to really have a budget that I could live by. So now that I'm retired, I have more time to look at my budget, and I've also been following a budget planner and joined a Facebook group for a budget planner. Now, this is my first one. I'm not saying it's the one for everybody. I will link it down below, but it's a start. And a lot of the questions in the Facebook group apply to me, so I appreciate that. It also helps me not feel so bad about my situation when I see what other people are dealing with and living with, and literally their heads buried in the sand about their finances. There were times in my life that I didn't want to open bills. I didn't want to see how much I owed on that thing. And listening and watching a Facebook group talk about those things, it makes me feel better about myself, but yet I feel for those people and I have empathy. And if anything I say and do on this channel can help anybody else with budgeting and finance, that's why I'm being honest. That's why I'm not making stuff up about my finances or talking about stuff like I'm some genius in the financial world. I'm not. I retired on a pension, the end. I still have bills. I still have kids at home, and I'm just going to be honest with you guys about all those things. So in the description down below, I'm going to put a link to the budget planner that I'm following. I love planners like the notebooks. I have a whole bunch of digital planners on my iPad. I did actually have to buy a paper planner to keep up with substituting. I like overscheduled myself, double scheduled myself. And it's because I have my calendar on my phone. I also have a calendar on the refrigerator for my kids to keep track of. So I have my phone, my refrigerator, and now I have a paper planner. I'm obsessed about planning. I just want to do better now that I'm retired than before when I was just flying by the seat of my pants on everything. Needless to say, my retirement and tracking my money better has had maybe a negative effect on my teenage daughter. I had created a life that was not sustainable after I got divorced. Whenever I got divorced 9 years ago, I didn't want my children's lives to change other than just their dad being gone. So I wanted their lives to stay the same. I knew how to make extra money. I volunteered to make extra money. I worked extra jobs. I took on additional supervision. I know how to create digital products. I was working all the time and I could continue that lifestyle. And it was exhausting. It got exhausting and it's not something that I could keep up. When I started talking to my daughter about these changes back in August and September, it was really hard. I mean, it freaked her out. I mean, it freaked me out. We were butting heads and everything, but there were a lot of things that were going on at that time. First of all, I was retired and I was home. Second of all, she wasn't going to her dad's as often as she does in the summer because during the school year, she stays with me during the week and usually would go to her dad's on the weekends. And we were really busy and that wasn't happening. I was planning all the meals, budgeting for all the food, and we were just butting heads. So that has gotten better. I have been using the child support as income, which I was not considering that income previous to this, but I give that to her as her allowance each week for gas and food and just existing as a teenager. So that mindset has helped as far as using the child support in a specific way instead of just lumping it into income. It's gotten better with my daughter. She's also not been working since she worked at the pool in the summer, and she hasn't been working since then. And basketball season is going to start, and I'm okay with that. She has money saved from her summer job to do some little things that teenagers do, but there is always going to be those expenses that a parent covers for a teenager. Upcoming expenses. I did have some dental work recently and not all of it. I have about $6,000 worth of dental work that needs to happen before Christmas that I do have savings, however, not enough to cover the dental work. I was able to pay for half of this procedure in cash, so I paid $500 towards the first dental procedure I had. So those are some kind of unexpected expenses. And then Christmas is coming. And I can budget for Christmas, but I am certain that there are going to be additional expenses for Christmas that I don't see coming. That leads me to my financial goals. Now that I'm settling in, I've gotten through 2 months, I kind of can see a big picture of finances and what things are going to look like. So I kind of have some goals. I did my retirement dreams video of some things that I would like to be able to do in the future. And somebody said that I needed to move Chiefs games to the top of my list because I need to go to a Chiefs games because they're so good and the environment is crazy. And I know that. And eventually I will get to a Chiefs game. But some of my other kind of financial goals are savings and sinking funds. I don't know what sinking funds are. I'm just going to tell you, come at me, whatever, but I'm going to admit it. I don't know what sinking funds are. But I do want to separate my savings. I have savings, but I want to have a different account or a couple of different savings accounts. And then I think after Christmas, I'm going to work on paying off my car and my car debt. I do still have a car payment. It's not gigantic. I mentioned that budget group that I was following just a minute ago. Some of the people in that group have $700 to $1,000 car payments, and I cannot even imagine that. That is not me. I do not have car payments like that. But imagine the money that I could have to invest or save or do some of my retirement dreams if I don't have this car payment. So I'm definitely working towards that. And another goal is to sell some things that I have. I have too much stuff. I ran into a couple yesterday. I went to a craft fair, had a budget in mind of what I was going to spend. I ran into a couple that she used to be a realtor. She sold me my house actually. Her husband is retired and then she's getting ready to retire in a couple of years. And we just talked and we talked about clutter and all the things that we have that we don't need. And just over the years, you accumulate stuff. I remember my mom, when she moved out of her house into an apartment, and how much stuff she had accumulated, and deciding what to do with all of that stuff. I probably need to sell some of my stuff, but some of it can be donated and a lot of it can be thrown away. I'm super guilty about just throwing stuff away. My kids get so mad. Every time they leave something out, I don't throw it away. I move it or put it away, and they immediately come home, "Did you throw away my notebook?" or whatever. And I don't, but it's funny that that's what they think that I do every single time. I almost forgot to show you the money or talk about the money. This month, I made $834 more than my last working paycheck. It was $1,500 more than my retirement. So my retirement plus $1,500. That income was from, I included child support in that so that that would cover what I was giving my daughter. I got a royalties check from the book that I wrote. I included that in my income. I got a medical reimbursement check. I did include that. I used to sometimes, when I would get some of these little surprise funds come back or something I wasn't expecting, and I'd be like, oh yeah, and then I would just spend it. I'd be like, oh, this is $144 to just chuck on something else. And now I am including that in my income. And then substitute teaching, of course, I made a lot on substitute teaching. I did more this month than I did last month. Like I said, I might do more next month just for Christmas. I could slow that down just a little bit. These videos are keeping me accountable. I think I'm gonna do monthly budget reviews on this channel for my retirement. They might get better because I don't think I'm very specific. And since I'm new to YouTube, I'm kind of all over the place. So put your questions or comments down in underneath this video if you have them, or if you want me to be more specific about something. I'm not sure if I want to be like on the dollar specific. The budget group that I follow, they are very specific about their budgets. But go ahead in the comments and let me know what you think. I know I'm asking for it when I say that, and I just get some of the best, but yet some of the worst comments. But I do love the community and the questions that you guys ask. Don't forget to ask a question for the financial planner. I'm gonna meet with him, or we're gonna do a collaboration. And then if this is helpful, like and subscribe or share with other people that you know are retiring.